It's hard to contain your excitement when you get something you've really wanted. Like the gold standard in automotive protection, WeatherTech floor liners. With deep sculpted channels and laser measured for total protection in the front, back, and even up the sides.
Dad, you're going viral.
What? WeatherTech me.
So don't be shy, enjoy.
WeatherTech.
Order your premium American-made products at WeatherTech.com.
A shock one-lap shootout yesterday gave us a feel-good finish. Could we see another first-time winner? It's time for the Porsche Sprint Challenge North America Cayman Series by Yokohama. I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is former racer Joey Atterbury. Joey, Watkins Glen just seems to be full of surprises every time we come here.
It is, and let's take a look at exactly what the drivers are dealing with here in the Finger Lakes region of upstate New York. A 3.45-mile 11-turn circuit that is extremely high speed. A couple key areas to note. Turn number 1, the 90. It is a great passing opportunity, but a lot going on. It is a downhill brake zone that flattens out at apex and has a ton of driver exit runoff, but be careful. Race control is watching for those that go out too far. And then the run up the S's through the back straight, extreme top speeds, over 160 miles an hour, through the inner loop and down into the boot section. Definitely the most technical area on this racetrack. And exiting the boot, one of the tricky corners, turn number 9 up there. Got to be careful as the car gets light on its feet. And then it's only 2 more corners of just rolling as much speed as you possibly can to finish this lap.
And the drivers going a bit early this morning here for our first race of the day. So obviously dealing with some cool temperatures, especially where the shadows are still across the track. Let's go through how this race is going to be starting, though. for today's event, as we do have Jens Hansen still on the pole, but Lonnie Unser returns after her first win in the series, and will be starting on that front row next to Hansen. Pelichowski will be on our pole for the Masters with Anna Checki starting to his outside. Then you get down to Bill Finnick starting in 5th position, as Spencer Proper will be to his outside in P6. Elaine Scalzo, not getting the best of second laps in under qualifying, is all the way down in 7th overall. Third in his class is Erica Hoffman, will be starting next to him. From there, it's all Masters here on out. Rami Farid will be starting in the 9th spot. Gary Bufkin next to him. Farid hoping to finish a little better than his DNF last time. Kopczynski starts in the 11th spot, with Joe Rizzo starting next to him in 12th position. Then you've got Dan Ammon starting in 13th. Had a bad race one, unfortunately, with an accident that sidelined him, with Charles Craig starting in 14th, and Reggie Tartaglione will round out your 15-car field here today. So interesting, because we got some drivers with things to prove for very different reasons today for race 2, Joey.
Absolutely. I'm looking towards Elaine Scalzo, that bright orange and blue 26 that's going to be starting in the middle of the field. Let me tell you, he has been one of the fastest cars all weekend. It's a little unfortunate to see that second lap doesn't have him kind of representative on the grid of how his speed is. So that's one of the drivers that I'm looking out for. And then Erica Hoffman, remember, she wasn't in the car at Road America. It's great to see her back here at Watkins Glen. A little bit of a frustrating race yesterday, so I'm looking for a rebound out of this driver.
That's a good point. She got a penalty due to some contact with Anna Checki, so Erica wants to try and finish a little higher. She was off the podium, and Anna Checki didn't even get to finish the race as she DNF'd. So she's back, and she wants to try and get herself a good result today. But really the big, I think, sort of title fight that we have is Jens Hansen and Lonnie Unser because of yesterday. Jens probably feeling like he's got to show he's learned something.
Yes, he led the whole race except for the last lap yesterday, where Lonnie Unser just nailed turn number 1 on the restart, carried the momentum up through the S's, and ultimately passed Hansen going into the inner loop. So I'm sure that he went back, reviewed the data, reviewed the video, talked with coaches, talked with the team, and say, how can I keep everything up to temperature so that way I can go into the S's with confidence out here? I'm sure that he's got a game plan for today, but does Lonnie Unser also have an answer for that?
Yeah, that's a good point, because she did stay pretty close. It wasn't just that, she sniped him right on that restart. She was, within about a second and a half the entire race?
Yeah, she was floating between 7/10, 9/10 of a second behind Hansen, and I think in those last couple laps he had just started to eke it out a little bit more. So that full course yellow was the last thing our overall leader wanted to see, but it worked out for Lonnie because, like you said, she capitalized on it.
Did a fantastic job, and it was scenes of jubilation down on the podium, having worked hard for that first ever win in the series for now multiple years at this stage, and she's finally broken that duck. But the question is, can she now start to rack up some more after that and stop Jens Hansen from going back to his winning ways? You can see them all starting to line up now, getting in those beautiful 2 columns before they go racing here at Watkins Glen. How much do you think this earlier start will affect the way the cars are? Because I have to imagine that the shaded spots are probably pretty cool.
They are relatively cool, but it is the warmest day of the weekend out here, so I think that the sun is already providing plenty of, call it track temperature out there. You see the sun beating down on this asphalt, so that's really the most important part. The engines love the cool air. The tires want the warm track. Just one quick note here. I'm also looking at the 52, Tom Kopczynski. Remember, he was on the podium yesterday, that Masters class podium, but starting a little bit further down as well.
That's a good point. Yeah, he's only 6th in class, and that's 11th overall. As we come to that final corner, safety car will duck off, and then it is time to go racing. Giving control over to Jens Hansen. He has to wait patiently for the call from the flag stand before he is allowed to go on this initial start. And there it is. Green flag is out. We are underway at Watkins Glen International. once again down to turn 1. He gets a good start. He's been really good on these starts, but we're 3 wide coming into that first corner around the outside of the 90. Anna Checki uses all of the road and then some.
Yeah, she goes off and uses that driver exit, which is available just in case, and now she wraps it around the outside of turn number 2 and takes away second place from Lonnie Unser. Bill Fennick giving chase here about 4th or 5th place.
What a response from Anna Checki after that first race. She is on it from the word go. There was a little look coming into the inner loop from Lonnie, who we now ride on board with, but wasn't willing to risk it on this first lap. She backs off, stays in that 3rd position. Pelichewski still leads in the Masters, ahead of Fennick currently behind these cars.
We wrap our way around the outer loop here and head downhill into what is turn number 6. The laces of the boot here, make sure you keep it on apex. Don't want to let this car drift out too wide on this opening lap here. Remember, these drivers still getting everything up to temperature. These Yokohama tires providing excellent grip on the first lap. Just need to get those pressures nice and stable.
So there we see Lonnie in the purple and white machine, Anna in the yellow and white, chasing down from second place, but Hansen using this opportunity of those two squabbling to put just a little bit of distance on this first lap. Bill Pelichewski still in that Cookie Monster scheme this weekend, running 4th overall. But remember, he's more concerned about Fennick behind him, as all the cars in front of him are in the Pro-Am class.
Jens has done a nice job here on this opening lap to kind of stretch it out about 1.2, maybe 1.5 seconds over that yellow number 27 as they come through the final turn here at Watkins Glen to complete that first lap.
They'll cross the line. Hansen, Checki, Unser is your Pro-Am top 3 right now. Pelichewski, Fennick, Scalzo are your top 3 down in the Masters. Scalzo still sitting in 7th. Which I believe is, that's where he started this race, so hasn't made up any positions since the start. I wouldn't expect that he'll stay there, though, as we could see some action later on. We'll watch Anna come up the hill and see if she can regain some ground on Hansen, because right now it's about a 1.5 seconds apart as we hop on board with Tom.
And just riding here in the slipstream, Kopczynski has made up 1 position in class from where he started. So from 6th up to 5th. And I was just noticing right behind Tom is Dan Ammon. Talk about a heck of a start. He was way back there, or call it on the back couple rows. And now he's made his way all the way up into 6th in Masters.
And I'm going to get it right this time. That's Farid in front of Tom Kopczynski this time. And then that's Erica Hoffman in front of them. So she's in the Pro-Am. These two, though, are in the Masters fight. This is for that 4th position in the Masters class. A bit of a train, actually, forming, because I'm just noticing that they've also got Ammon behind Kopczynski there.
Yeah, he's done a great job on that start, but these top 3 in front are trying to run away. Pelichewski is also hanging on to the back here, so there's this battle between Erica Hoffman and Rami Farid here. Erica is in that blue and white car. Farid is in that bright blue with the orange highlights as they exit up out of the boot here, come up to what is turn number 9. This is such a tricky corner because it's over crest at exit. The car definitely gets light on its feet.
Looks like all 4 of them handled it nicely, though. Nobody really having any huge slips coming through that corner. And then we head through the penultimate turn and into the final right-hander back onto the main straight. Cannot abuse the exit on this one, as there is a safety barrier right to the outside. She's ready to collect the car. They'll cross the line once again. They still have 30 minutes plus a lap to go, so it is early days.
It's not what Lonnie Unser wanted at the beginning of this race. It's now 3.5 seconds between Anna Checki and Jens Hansen out front. Remember, Lonnie won the race yesterday. She's now looking at almost a 4-second gap to hunt down Jens Hansen. She needs to get by that yellow number 27 if she wants to keep up.
Continuing to watch Scalzo here, who looks like he is trying to hunt down Spencer Proper for an overall position. He thinks that maybe he could catch up to Fennick, I'm sure, and try and fight potentially for the class win. But as he follows him around the carousel, nothing doing here on the high side of the course. Now they're going to plunge downhill into the lower reaches, into the valley of the boot, and down through the chute. He stays just about 2 car lengths back.
And we've been talking so much about Lonnie Unser's first win. This driver right here holding off Elaine Scalzo also had a milestone day yesterday. That was Spencer Proper's first podium of the year as well.
Yeah, that's a good point. We can't overlook that. I mean, there was so many celebrations there for Lonnie that we have to recall that Spencer did an incredible job at a very difficult track to collect that first podium. This is a place that tends to gobble up cars, and he kept it on the island.
He did a fantastic job yesterday, and he's kind of picking up exactly where he left off, albeit one position further down. He's currently in fourth in that Pro-Am class, and Elaine Scalzo, who's giving chase right now, is a Masters class car. All the way out to the curb, using every piece of this Watkins Glen International Racetrack to carry that speed through what is turn number 10 now and feed it through turn number 11, the final corner here that's got a ton of natural banking built into it.
Yeah, a lot of corners like that. This is very much an old school track where they have that banking in there. Not as many modern tracks that really kind of throw that in. Scalzo's doing what he needs to do, but I think he'll need to try and find a way by eventually as we jump back to the battle for P2 between Checky and Unser. As frustrating as this is for Unser, I have to tip the hat to Anna Checky. I mean, she knew that the start was going to be one of the best opportunities, and she did not hesitate on that. She snatched that up quick.
Yeah, you know, I was watching that white and purple number 4 car on the front row, and I think she kind of showed her hand in trying to creep towards the apex down towards turn number 1 on that initial start, and it just kind of opened the door for Anna Checky. And it's not that Anna had anywhere to go, it's just that she was on the racing line and nobody in front of her, so she could use a normal brake marker, and she took advantage in turn number 1, like you said. A very aggressive move, but now comes the race pace when everything is settled in. It seems like this number 4 car is all up on that bumper.
Very much so, and I'm sure I'm just trying to lure the commentator's curse out here, but I do want to say 3 laps in, we haven't even had a single car reported for track limits so far. So this is an impressively clean start for all the drivers out there, but it looks like it is getting tense for Anna. Lonnie's just trying to see if she can poke to the inside, but nothing doing there. Did look like maybe Anna had just a slight defense coming into the heel.
Yes, she did. She put her car right in the middle of the road. And remember, these two girls, they are rivals in the paddock. Yes, they get along and they're always willing to race each other, but they had a little bit of a coming together way back at the beginning of the season over at Sonoma. And trust me, race car drivers never forget.
Exactly. And I have to imagine there might be just a little bit of care being taken by Lonnie because of that, making sure that she's got the space she needs, but still keeps the pressure on that 27 so that she can maybe get that mistake out of that yellow and white car. But back around the 90 and into the S's once again, we pick up speed once more. They still have Pelichewski behind, but it looks like Bill is starting to get himself a gap over Finnick. So I think Pelichewski's in a nice safe spot, even if he follows these two battling.
Just a driving difference that I'm kind of picking up on is that it definitely seems like Anna Checky is a little bit wide in what is turn number 2, starting to climb the S's. Lonnie Unser is keeping the car much, much tighter to that apex, while that yellow and white number 27 kind of drifting out a little bit. Here in the outer loop, kind of a similar deal, about a car width, maybe half a car width off of the apex curbing, while Lonnie Unser is keeping it nice and tidy there, trying to either get a little bit of a clean visual or some more front air to the car.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I mean, I want to get a little bit into the weeds on that because I do find this fascinating that there's these two different approaches, and yet they seem relatively close on pace. Is there much advantage to be found to opening up the corner like Anna is doing?
Yes and no. You have to do it the proper way. I do through this race, seeing out of Anna Checky, and we're seeing a result of it is that Lonnie Unser is on the bumper every single lap, and if Anna Checky goes a little bit even wider or makes a mistake, Lonnie's going to capitalize.
She got pretty close there through turn 9. That seems to be a very good spot of the track there coming out of the heel. But she needs to maybe get a little closer on some of these faster parts, such as here, down into turn 1.
Does a nice job, though, carrying the speed through that final corner there. So she's, call it at stiff arm distance between herself and Lonnie as they go through turn number 1. I think that turn 1 is probably the most important corner on this racetrack as it provides you this launch, and you're flat out all the way up through turn number 2 into turn number 3, still 100% throttle throughout this section, grabbing 6th gear right about here. And these Cayman GT4s are approaching 160 miles an hour by the time they reach the inner loop.
I mean, that's one thing I do love about the fact that these cars don't have the BOP on them, since it is single make for them out there, is they can really unleash the engines underneath them. But look at this close battle we have. This is Finnick, and I'm showing on my timing and scoring. No, excuse me, that is actually Farid there that we see at the front of this group. So this is Kopczynski and Ammon. So this is for the 8th position, getting ever closer between them. Kopczynski unable to do anything to get onto that podium yet. I'm sure there's just a little bit of irritation starting to build in that number 52 car.
Yeah, riding on board now with the number 91 of Dan Ammon. Call it kind of the caboose on the train here. Kopczynski directly in front of us. And something that we missed somewhere on the racetrack is that Erica Hoffman has passed Spencer Proper. Unfortunately, that number 30 car might have had a bad couple laps here. He's fallen down to 5th. Erica is way up the order, and she's actually knocking on the door of Elaine Scalzo. Those are the front 2 cars here in this train.
Yeah, trying to see if Proper's last lap was off, and not by much, 157, but Proper was well ahead of Hoffman. Multiple cars going by, to me, says there was some sort of off track or spin or something that really gave him a poor lap out there.
Well, and it could even just be a single mistake, because look at how much these cars are lined up pretty much nose to tail. So let's say if a car kind of gets off of the racing line and on the back foot, it's not just going to be one car that's going to be threatening. And then in the next corner, if you're on the back foot again, there's another car in the mirror, and it just kind of cycles all the way through the train. So really unfortunate for that number 30 car.
Hoffman on screen there, following behind Scalzo. That's for 6th overall. Scalzo still sitting in 3rd position on the podium, but now that he's gotten by Hoffman, he just has to try and run down Finnick in front of him.
Accelerate up through this back straightaway here. See if anybody's got any sort of advantage as we enter what is the inner loop section of this racetrack. You see Erica Hoffman kind of leading this train, and that's Farid, and then followed by Kopczynski here in this number 52 car going through the outer loop. Everybody seems to be at a pretty even pace, using up the majority of the racetrack here. This is a downhill section. I know we're looking top down, so it's a little bit difficult, but it is a very balanced section. By balanced, the car has to be balanced going down there. You have the guardrail, the tire wall directly on the outside. You can't afford a mistake.
These two have been kind of hovering ahead of Dan Ammon. We've mentioned him recently, but we should point out that, remember, he had troubles in qualifying, so he's coming from the back on this one and climbing his way forward. The fact that he's already from 14th up to 10th position right now really says something, so he could be eating these cars up.
Yeah, and like I had mentioned, he's kind of the caboose on that train of a lot of cars. So once again, as long as a door is open, Dan will find a way through. As we jump back up to the number 4 car, Lonnie Unser seems to have gotten even closer here to Anna Czecki. That last segment, only 3/10 behind. Let's see as they cross the line here at the start-finish. It is only about 4/10, so Anna had a good couple corners.
And I want to talk about the psychological side, because someone watching might say, well, I thought Lonnie was the quicker of the two. She's climbing all over the back of that car. Why isn't she just getting by? It feels like a lot of times drivers will almost get stuck following a car that's close-ish on pace, even a little bit slower.
It's very, very difficult to pass at a racetrack when you have a driver that is almost identical, like you were mentioning. Let's say if they're using the same brake marker, how do you outbrake them going into the corner? If they're on the gas maybe 5 feet later than you, okay, you might have a little bit of a run, but by the time you're halfway down the straightaway, it's kind of equalized. So, yeah, it can be very difficult. The one daylight I see at the end of the tunnel, I think that Jens Hansen had an off lap of 56.3 that last time, and Anna Czecki actually set her personal best of 55.8. So what was 3.5 seconds has now come down to 2.2 seconds. Jens is even off here in sector number 1.
We see those every once in a while. Whenever Jens seems to have those mistakes, he just seems to be in a good enough position that he doesn't often lose that lead. Yesterday was the first time all season that it really had cost him something serious. This time he had the distance to really keep himself a buffer. There you can see between himself and those two chasing. If he has those little slip-ups, he can do it once or twice, but he can't do it too many times, so he's got to stay on it.
And I mean, even in sector number 2, I'm not trying to be hard on him at all, but he was 0.3 slower than Checky and Unser. So here comes Lonnie Unser with a great run out of turn number 9, presents the car to the inside. Oh, gets the door shut. That is not a braking zone, so it's so tough to make a pass there. That lead car can just carry the momentum.
We've seen multiple cars try that all weekend long where they're so good out of turn 9, but there's just not enough of getting on the binders down into that left-hander to really allow you to try and take that racing line away. So she'll have to do something else a little sneaky here to try and get by. And again, it's one of those things where I have to give credit to both of them because Anna Checky is withstanding this pressure very, very well.
Yeah, and this time Jens Hansen, sector number 3, he was back on it. So what came down to 2.1 seconds is now back up to 2.9 seconds with these two girls here fighting it out, just scrapping it out amongst themselves.
Also worth noting that we didn't see it on screen, but Farid did get by Hoffman for 7th. So that now puts him with nothing between himself and Scalzo, about 1.3 seconds to catch up to that third, as Farid could get onto the podium here, and he kind of needs it. He's been pretty quick. He's had decent pace all season, all weekend. It's just the luck has not been with him.
Sometimes when it rains, it pours out on the racetrack, and things tend to unravel. And something that is not unraveling is this race for Erica Hoffman. You had mentioned yesterday kind of had a little bit of a tough day with that penalty, but she's done a nice job to rebound. She still currently sits 4th in the Pro-Am class. Looking forward, that is Farid in that orange and blue car. And, Joe, it's almost your worst nightmare. We got them lined up next to each other.
I'll have to pay close attention on this one, but at least I know that Farid is behind. Scalzo's ahead for the time being, as we see Proper there still being chased, I think, by Rizzo. Or Tom Kopczynski, we right on board with. No, excuse me, that was Hoffman with Kopczynski behind that we were looking at there for a brief moment. So we ride with Tom, who's been bringing us some lovely snacks this weekend. Had some wings and some beer from his company that he runs, his brewery, and has definitely kept us well fed and imbibed.
As long as you can keep the bellies full, everybody will be happy. Just a little bit of an update here on this battle that we're watching. Directly behind Kopczynski is still that number 91 of Dan Ammon. He's made his way up 5 positions from starting way in the back, and he's starting to pressurize that number 52 that we were just riding on board with.
Yeah, and Ammon definitely needs those results. He needs to catch up to Kopczynski. That's who he's fighting in the championship right now, which is essentially for second place. Scalzo, despite having some poor results at times, just has such a massive lead. It's mostly a battle for best of the rest, so we'll have to keep a close eye on Tom and Dan to see how they sort that one out. There's the distance, as we can see through the windscreen of the 91. After having some mechanical gremlins over at Road America, then coming back and having an incident in qualifying, he's doing his best to overcome the hurdles.
Doing a great job. It's not always easy to hop out of one chassis and into another. I know that, yes, they are the same cars with air quotes around them. However, the seat is different. The belts are a little bit different. You fit in there a little bit different. And check out this battle once again. I was noticing it was extremely close by start-finish this lap time. And this time, Anna Checky still defensive here in this boot section of turn number 8. But Lonnie Unser has officially closed it in. She's looking for any way by possible. And they've actually closed it back in on Jens Hansen. Ballooned up to 2.9, now back down to 2.3.
We always talk about the attitude of the car and the body language, and the body language right now is looking aggressive from Lonnie Unser. We're starting to see her get a little bit tired of sitting behind. It's back up to 2.5 seconds, so they're not losing huge chunks to Hansen, but the time is continuing to slip away. This time, she gets a good exit off the final corner. Doesn't have the overlap, but look at her get squeezed down as Anna tries to defend down into the 90. Are they going to get side by side through there? Not quite, although the good exit from the inside was impressive at first. She loses momentum as Lonnie Unser does not have the speed. And behind, Pelichewski, how long does he sit and wait for them to sort it out?
That's an interesting question because remember, Pelichowski is leading that Masters class and he's leading that by 4 seconds. Do you really want to involve yourself in this scrap right here or just let them fight it out for the Pro-Am podium? As a racing car driver, of course you want to prove that you're the fastest and get up in front of these two ladies. However, you got to think about the big picture. You don't want to put your car in any sort of harm when you're leading that Masters class.
Exactly, and right now he is sitting comfortably, as you pointed out, so I have to imagine he'll show a little bit of patience here. He's still got victory in his hands. It's when he starts losing time to Bill Finnick behind that's when he'll get a little bit antsy out there and will want to try and maybe push the issue and get by one of them, give himself a bit of a buffer. Out of the toe of the boot once again. Ooh, this looked like a good run from above. Let's see how it looks by the time they get to the braking.
This has tended to be a little bit of a stronger area of the racetrack for that white and purple number 4. Once again, kind of just showing the car to the inside, presenting the car in that right-hand rear view mirror for Anna Czecki, trying to take her eyes off of the brake point and onto her to hopefully force a mistake. But Anna's doing a terrific job. And I do have a big question mark over our leader right now because his lap times are kind of fluctuating. I wonder if he's kind of running a pace just to manage the car, knowing about yesterday, trying to save something for the end just in case.
Well, and that we pointed that out, that we saw a change in form yesterday, too, that we always talk about how he seemed to lose pace at the end. Instead, he was picking it up. He was extending himself over Lonnie Unser before that yellow flag. This time, there's no attempt down into turn 1, although there was still a defense from Anna into the 90. It's going to be close coming down the backstretch as Lonnie has gotten a pretty good exit. She'll start to feel the toe, but we haven't really seen it have enough of effect to really give a good chance. And now, as soon as I say that, look at the distance between them.
Yeah, Anna had a good run up the hill there, so nicely done for that yellow number 27. Jumping back on board here with Dan in the number 91, still giving chase to Kopczynski directly in front of him. But this has become a large train here. It goes all the way up to Rami Farid in that number 53 car. So you see them kind of all stacked up here. Everybody is antsy for some positions.
Can Farid hold them off? Because it certainly seems like he's got a bit of a backup. That said, Scalzo's not that far in front of him. Interesting. Has Scalzo caught up at all to Finnick? No, he hasn't.
And remember, Farid was right on the bumper of Scalzo just, 2 or 3 laps ago. So I feel like that orange and blue number 26 that is just ahead of the other orange and blue car probably has a little bit more pace. All he's got to do is kind of focus on his brake markers, all of his apex speeds, and nail a lap. I mean, we saw how fast he was in qualifying and in the race yesterday.
And I say that, I checked the lap times. Last time, Finnick was actually about a second slower than Scalzo, so he did gain quite a bit of time. But I swear it was a little bit closer than that last time I had looked earlier in this race. We'll keep a better eye and see what the general trend is between them. In the meantime, it does seem like it's getting a little bit iffy there for Hoffman, with Kopczynski getting ever closer behind him. Tom, no doubt, would like to get with his fellow Masters drivers, as Hoffman is the only one in this group that is in the Pro-Ams.
Correct, yeah. She's this white and blue car here crossing start-finish line. So she's doing a great job hanging out inside the top 10 overall. But, yeah, in terms of the points positions, that car directly behind of Tom Kopczynski is looking to get around so that way he can go up and battle with other cars in his class.
That's got to be difficult for Erica because I'm sure she doesn't want to interrupt their battle, but at the same time, she would also like to be getting up with the other Pro-Ams, and if she lets them by, that really prevents her from any hope of getting up there. So she's got to push just as much down through the inner loop. She does look strong through that section, and she gained a little bit of physical space on Farid. So maybe she'll tuck that knowledge away for later in case she gets a chance.
And as we've been watching this group of cars here for this last lap and a half or so, I've noticed that they each have their strengths at certain points of the racetrack. Farid here in this next corner that we're coming up to, turn number 7, he seems to absolutely nail it and close down on Scalzo every single time through this short shoot straightaway, while Erica Hoffman kills it in the first half of the racetrack. Let's see if it's kind of a repeat of this same thing. And once again, he gets a great exit out of turn number 7, accelerates away from Erica Hoffman.
At a really important spot, because we often see drivers try to snipe a position down into the heel, but there's no chance for that this time. Let's hop on board with Erica Hoffman now, riding over the rumble strip on the exit of 8, switching back over the blind crest of turn 9, trying to set herself up. It was through the first half of the lap that Joey seems to think that Erica is a little bit quicker, so let's watch and see if that orange car gets a little bit bigger in the windscreen.
I was just watching the cars come down start-finish here. Pretty even gaps between Anna Czecki, Lonnie Unser, and Bill Pelichowski, so nothing has changed up at the front. Let's see if this Porsche female driver here in Erica Hoffman can get up on that bumper and pass that orange and blue 53 of Farid. I do think that she's a little bit faster here through the S's and the run up the back straightaway. She is close enough. Look at how nice and tidy she is on that apex curb of turn number 2. Maybe half a car width wide there in 3, but she's got to run.
This is looking strong, and like I said, she seemed to be able to outbrake him coming into the inner loop. Does she dare as she shows herself in the mirrors, but she gets back onto the racing line. Early turning from Farid, way off the line for Hoffman, and she has to back out.
Got in a little bit too deep on the brakes, but thankfully she didn't run the car off the racetrack. She just loses about maybe 2 or 3 car lengths to Farid, so she's just got to gather it back up. Unfortunately, this is the area of the racetrack where her competitor seems to be a little bit stronger than her, so you just have to kind of toss that mistake out the window, refocus on all of your apexes.
Switching back to Kopczynski now. He's the one that's getting onto Hoffman as he's got himself a good run now. Erica needing to regroup, get right on the back of Farid there in 7th position. Up the hill once again, out of the toe of the boot, and it does look like she has recovered nicely. She's starting to put a little more distance on that blue and white machine.
Nicely done. You have to kind of forget your mistakes as a racing car driver and just move on to the next corner, the next lap. You know you can nail those, so that's exactly what Erica Hoffman is trying to do right now, just kind of regather everything up, and it's going into the part of the racetrack where we know she's very strong at it. And actually, if anything, I think that Elaine Scalzo has had kind of a little bit of a poor lap here. He's actually backed himself up into Farid just a touch coming down the front straightaway here.
And one thing to keep in mind that I don't think we brought up yet is while this is the second race of the weekend for the Watkins Glen races, we have a makeup race for Road America to do later this afternoon. So, yes, you want to try and push for a good result here, but you can't do anything that's going to endanger the car because you've got limited time to put it back together for the next race.
100%. Don't make any big oopsies out there on the racetrack. Be nice and clean with your competitors. And that's exactly what the teams need to be able to turn these cars around and get them ready for that race this afternoon, as Lonnie Unser still continues to put the pressure on Anna Czecki, trying to get that closer, but she's been stuck kind of at this 3/10, 4/10 marker. We've seen her get a little bit closer a few laps, but Anna Czecki always seemed to have a defense.
And I mean, after being unable to finish the first race, I love what I'm seeing from Anna on this rebound. She is not letting herself show that she's been fazed or rattled at all by that incident. She is back on it and looking at a podium. Even if she does get passed by Lonnie, she's still well easily on that podium for today's finish. But down into the braking, into the heel, thought there was a good enough run there from Lonnie. She doesn't show herself this time.
Well, and I think that this number 4 car can definitely go back and kind of review how she's attacking Anna Czecki this race. She's constantly presenting the car to the inside of the racetrack. However, when Anna Czecki goes over in defense, Lonnie Unser kind of stays there. She can move back to the racing line to kind of open up that radius if Anna Czecki is blocking her off going into the corner. So there are still some things to improve on with the racecraft from both of these drivers, and I'm sure she'll go back and check it out. And we've got a full course yellow. We've got a car off and the exit of the inner loop going into the outer loop, it looks like.
That does seem to be where that's taking place, but the car doesn't look like it is wrecked as it sits. This is Tartaglione. He's still in the car right now, waiting patiently. now that we've got everybody slowed up, he'll have a chance to hop out, but we haven't seen any signs of something huge happening. I wonder if this is similar to what we saw with Farid yesterday, where something just went wrong with the car.
That's what I would guess, too. Like you said, doesn't look like to be any impacts or anything. The drivers seem totally fine inside the race car there. Safety crews are already on site talking to the driver, just making sure everything is all right. Don't see any fluid also out of any part of this car, so little bit of a mystery to us right now.
Well, hopefully this will be easy to just tow out, because that's what we had last time with Farid, and almost at the same time, actually.
Jens Hansen has got to be looking and thinking to himself, what did I do?
Not again. Why me? If they get it restarted, but it's Checky this time that's behind him. So it is a different car that's going to be restarted. There's the driver hopping out. So, everything seems to be fine with Reggie, which is great to see.
Car's actually rolling. They're actually pushing the car right now.
Don't even need the tow hook. Okay. Well, that'll make life even easier here.
And I point that out because that usually means that the gearbox is spinning freely. So that kind of eliminates that question.
So what opportunities does this offer up for the 4 here, since we're riding on board with Lonnie? Is a restart give her a better chance to get by?
I mean, what opportunities? All we got to do is rewind till yesterday.
Good point.
Right? I mean, this exact same situation happened with a stalled car maybe 200 yards at a different spot on the racetrack. It is almost identical. So, yes, it does provide huge opportunities for Lonnie Unser, and she's got to be thinking to herself, oh, my gosh, it's happening again. I can do this.
She knows how to do it. She knows how to nail that restart. Just needs to try and go by 2 cars this time if she wants to get another victory, but could still snatch that second place away. Hansen, though, I'm sure he'll be remembering exactly what he learned yesterday about preparing the car, doing everything he needs to do, and get ready to try and take off this time and not open himself up for attack if we go back to green. 3 minutes plus a lap to go. And since they are already pushing the car, I think there's an opening there at the side of the track coming into turn 5. So I think it should be easy to just kind of steer it out of the way.
Well, even then, the short chute is right there. So let's just say worst case scenario is that you could technically just park the car and leave it in the short chute and finish this race out. However, there's always procedures, always want to make sure that the safety vehicles are ready in case something else happens. So I'm sure that race control has a great handle on this situation. And I think that the best part about it is this counting down till 0 and then plus 1 lap. That does provide us a little bit more wiggle room.
Exactly. And, they get by with about 2 minutes left on the clock, so that means it will be 0 the following time by, but I'm pretty sure that we should have a clear track by that stage. No guarantees, but based on what we've been seeing, it looks likely from our perspective. They rolled by us here on the front straight, being led by what has been deemed the purple people leader out there for the safety car in front. And we're crossing our fingers that next time by, it's going to be another green-white.
Anna and Lonnie are back here saying, hey, speed up the pace car a little bit so that way we can get back and make sure that we've got that lap, while Jens Hansen is out there saying, hey, you know what? No. Go slower. Let's make sure that, everything kind of isn't cleaned up yet. So it's a tale of 2 different stories. And guess what? I just got word. Lights are out on the pace car this time by, so we will get a restart.
13 cars going to start this one back up, and we've been focusing on that front. Let's not forget that Scalzo now has that gap erased. Kopczynski now finds himself with a chance to maybe try and get by Hoffman and get up there. Dan Ammon as well. How many positions could he maybe collect up at the end of this race? Or will we see Farid get maybe a first podium here at the second try?
That would be a great story to tell for sure, because Scalzo is going to be lined up directly in front of him. They've been battling out there on the racetrack for, call it, the last 20 minutes, it seems. So this could provide that opportunity for Farid to kind of jump up on a restart. But this is almost an exact copy of what we had yesterday. I talked with Jens Hansen after the race, and he said that he just didn't have the confidence in the front end of the car into turn number 2, and he just lost a ton of momentum that carried him up the hill. That's why Lonnie Unser was able to capitalize. Does he have a mistake in hand, or can he actually get it done this time?
That's the one we want to know. And it does look like to me like that safety car is picking it up. He's going a little bit of a faster rate, trying to get them going racing that little bit quicker. 20 seconds left, so they're definitely not going to get to the line in time. But like we said, we're looking at a green and white flag when they get restarted here, a one-lap shootout to try and decide this race.
And I see that Jens Hansen is doing a nice job keeping up with that safety car for now, and probably here in this next corner or two, he'll probably back it up just that little bit, let the safety car run out, and then he will fully be in control of this restart here. You see him already starting to pack that field up. And you mentioned the posture of a race car. What posture do you think Anna Czecki is displaying right now?
I'm watching you. I am not leaving any cranny or nook covered. I'm not going to give you any opportunity. Now, the big difference here to remember is that while the initial start does require the leader to wait for the flag stand to give the green flag, on these restarts, he can choose when to go. That's why he's backing them up. He's trying to give himself the chance to make the shot out of the final corner, which tends to be the call for most of them. And it does look like he is starting to accelerate away. And there he goes. He is on it. Green flag is out as we head down to one lap to go. Jens Hansen, a good initial start, but we saw that yesterday. It was down into turn one where really he started to lose all that ground, and into turn two where he checked up that little bit. Can he keep it flat out this time?
It looked pretty busy in the middle of the pack. I saw some cars sticking out, potentially poking three wide into turn number one, but the run up the hill, it certainly seems like Anna Czecki's got a little bit of momentum sitting in the slipstream. She's trying to close it in on our leader. Hansen's going to try to keep her away.
She doesn't have as much of a run as we saw from Lonnie yesterday, so I doubt there's going to be anything here into the inner loop. They stay single file, but still, she is right on top of it. It seems like it hasn't been a perfect start for Jens Hansen, but enough that he still has that track position. Meanwhile, let's not forget, Lonnie Unser still wants to at least try and grab that P2 over Anna Czecki. She has only a couple more chances to make it happen.
I think that her best look is going to be going into what is turn number 8. She has been nailing this boot section all race long. You see her about a car length, maybe 2 car lengths behind that yellow Anna Czecki car. But this corner right here, turn number 7, could tell the tale by the time we get to the brake zone. Anna Czecki looks a little bit wide. Lonnie Unser might have a run.
Oh, she is very slow down the sole of the boot here. She's going to have to go around the outside, though. Who is going to be able to come out ahead as they head into the braking? Both of them about even. Lonnie round the outside. Can she keep it to get the inside of 9? No, she can't.
I think that was a great racer move right there. She left plenty of room at apex. Unfortunately, it left her vulnerable on the outside. Anna Czecki took advantage, but Jens Hansen has done what he's needed to do.
And look behind them. Pelichowski is not out of the woods. He might be leading the Masters, but Fennick has been using this to great effect. He's all over the back of him. If he can get a good run, he could steal it at the end, but it'll take a massive effort. In the meantime, up at the front, Jens Hansen is going to come back and respond with a win and race 2 in the Caymans. Behind him, as we got an accident coming off the final corner, trying to see who that is. Pelichowski will take the victory in the Masters category, and it may have been Ammon.
Oh, no, so unfortunate for that number 91 car, and I think I see Kopczynski maybe involved as well. Here's the onboard of the 91 sitting in pit lane, and yes, it is Tom Kopczynski. Oh, such a bummer way to end this one.
Both of them were having good races today. Massive damage there with Tom. You could see the steam coming out of the front with the radiator. And then huge damage on the left-hand side of Dan Ammon. That's 2 DNFs for him today, sadly. Or for this weekend, rather, for Dan Ammon.
Very, very frustrating for sure, but let's focus on the positives. The number 12 car of Jens Hansen learned from his mistake yesterday, responded with an awesome restart to complete this one with the win.
I'm curious how they're going to direct the cars to go into pit lane while they clean this up. But let's go through our results. Jens Hansen is our winner. Anna Czecki gets a second place, a great recovery from yesterday. Lonnie Unser having to settle for third, but another valuable podium. Pelichowski is your winner in the Masters, with Fennick finishing behind him in second, and Scalzo coming back with a podium, even though it's not a win this time out. Hoffman was 7th overall, for Reed was P8, and Bufkin was 9th. Spencer Proper gets a top 10 today, as Joe Rizzo will finish in 11th. Kopczynski, Ammon, Tartaglione were did not finishes, with Craig a did not start. We've got more to come with our podium ceremony, so don't go away.
It's hard to contain your excitement when you get something you've really wanted. Like the gold standard in automotive protection, WeatherTech floor liners. With deep sculpted channels and laser measured for total protection in the front, back, and even up the sides.
Dad, you're going viral.
What? Tech. WeatherTech me.
So don't be shy, enjoy. Order your premium American-made products at WeatherTech.com.
Time for podium ceremonies here in the Porsche Sprint Challenge North America Cayman Series. It's race number 2. Let's start off with the Cayman Masters today. Finishing in 3rd place, it's the driver of the number 26, driving forward to finish on the podium, Elaine Scalzo. Finishing 2nd today, it's the number 15, it's Bill Fennick. And our winner today, an excellent run back to the front, it's the 62 of Bill Pelichewski.
Well, Elaine, we'll come up here and stand next to you, get you this question done first. 2 podiums in 2 days, still have another race later to go. You looking forward to standing on the top step again maybe next time?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Secured the championship. So, yeah, I'll do my best this afternoon for sure.
We'll be watching for you, and congrats on the double podium so far this weekend. We'll come on over here. Bill Fennick, you seemed like a madman there on that. Scars out there. You almost snagged away the win on that last corner.
I tried, but Bill's hard. He's a tough competitor. So, yeah, I just had a great race. It's fun. So, and great team, great coach. Thank you. It was all fun. Loved it.
Great to see you up on the podium here, and then we'll come over to our winner, Bill Pelichewski. Now, you were able to hold him off on that restart. How bad was that pressure?
It wasn't too bad, but I knew Bill is pretty aggressive, so I wanted to make sure take away any doubt. So I kind of made sure in turn 11 he didn't leave an opening for him because you never know. But it was all good. It was a fun race, and I want to thank Kelly Moss and my coach, James. Great time, great play.
Now, we do have another race here this afternoon after lunch. I think that Elaine Scalzo and Fennick over here are going to be fighting for this top step. What are you going to do to hold them off?
It is going to be really hitting your marks and, being intelligent about it. And, it's a great course, but it takes a bit of effort. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Looking forward to it.
Congrats on the win. Everybody give it up for your Masters class podium.
All right, let's swap those hats out. Watch out for those sparks. All right, let's hold those trophies up again. Now you can put out the fire by spraying some champagne. That's our Cayman Masters podium for race number 2 this morning. Up next, we have the Good Boy Vodka Fastest Lap Award. This goes to the driver that ran away with it. It's the number 12 of Jens Hansen. That's our Good Boy Vodka Fastest Lap Award winner, Jens Hansen, for race number 2. And now we have our Cayman Pro-Am podium finishers, starting with 3rd place in the number 4, a double podium this weekend for Lonnie Unser. Finishing in 2nd, driving the number 27, an awesome pass at the start, netted this one for Anna Checki. And he wasn't going to lose out twice this week, and our winner in the Pro-Am goes to the number 12 of Jens Hansen.
Well, Lonnie, I'll come up here and stand next to you. You were on the top step yesterday, third place today, double podium so far, but what did you learn out there?
Yeah, ultimately just so grateful to be out here and have some awesome competitors to race against. It's so fun racing with these two. So just learned that, you gotta really push to win. So hopefully we'll have a good race in this afternoon.
We'll be looking for you out there. Congrats on the double podium so far. And talk about a rebound effort from Anna Checki. An aggressive move down into turn number 1. Got you second place, and you never let go.
Yeah, it was really exciting. Had to go for the comeback. After yesterday, I was ready to go back. And Lonnie put so much pressure on, so it was really hard to hang on until the end. But it was a lot of fun.
Great job on the podium here. And, of course, got another race to go this afternoon for you. But Jens Hansen, you're back up on top. Does it feel good?
Yeah, of course it feels good. Yeah, definitely feels good.
I got to ask you, when that yellow came out, what were you thinking?
Oh, no, deja vu. And I was thinking, don't make the same mistake. Be fast up the hill and, don't look in the mirror. Just keep going forward, and hopefully everything works out, and it did. So I'm really interested to find out how the P2 battle went, because that sounded really interesting, and they were doing really fast laps. So kudos to those guys for keeping up and just having a great race.
Great job out there on the win. Give it up for your Pro-Am podium.
All right, let's change into those Yokohama hats, please. And now you can spray a little champagne. That was our Cayman Pro-Am podium finishers for race number 2. Don't forget, we have our makeup race for Road America later today, but before that, it'll be GT3 Cup coming up this morning. Stick around.